Skype. Once we have the recording, I can download the recording in this from the Skype, right? On my local
Yes,
laptop.
yes, obviously.
Okay, fine. All right.
Yes. Okay. Sharing the screen. Okay. Let me know once you are able to see the screen.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, fine. So what we'll do is, okay, so as I have already mentioned, this 1 hour I will explain on the high level what are all the contents we are going to look into each of these particular topics. It is like something like I'm just trying to explain today the table of contents of a book, index page of a book. From the next class, we will actually go into topic by topic, one by one, right
Okay.
from the concept, then some kind of a template and where to use all those things.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing, no, the 5 tantras of enterprise. Okay, so before I begin the class, when you started looking into these points, right, like say from 1 to 15 points, generally, can I know what kind of thoughts were coming to your mind in terms of the content? Just wanted to know on a high level.
See, one is the thoughts which come to my mind are, so
Mm,
when you say 5 tantras of enterprise agility,
mm, mm.
so when somebody is talking about tantra is like tantra, mantra, and all that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Somebody is talking about that. It shows that experience that I have a strategy where I can say with 3 bullet points or 5 bullet points. So it is
Mm,
Balaji's 5 tantras of enterprise agility, and
mm.
we can crisply define in those 5 tantras. It's not
Correct.
that I cannot define enterprise agility. I can
Mm,
define enterprise agility, but this is something which Balaji has real time experienced, and
mm.
he is going to give me that brain dump.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so that is what the thought which I get. When you talk about strategic refactoring, I
Mm,
like the word strategic, and we are doing a refactoring.
mm,
Now, when we talk about strategic refactoring, it could be like when you look at an organization,
mm,
your organization is with lot of services are interconnected with each other, maybe HR service,
mm.
QA service, this service, that service, and all of these together come together to uh, make money for that organization.
Correct.
So maybe you are trying to refactor so that how we can achieve agility and how all of these together can work hand in hand in terms of, I mean, I know why they need to refactor so that
Mm,
we can deliver with faster speed.
mm.
Old ways of working, we need to move away out from old ways of working to the new ways of working. But now, when you are talking about a plan, I'm not in a position. If someone asks me, Priyal, what is the plan then? How do we
Mm.
approach towards that plan?
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
I
Good, good.
mean, so you are one level above me. I know
Okay,
what it is,
okay,
but
okay,
I exactly need to know the plan now. Okay, how
okay.
would I prepare a plan? So if I take up that particular role, someone
Mm,
says, Priyal, for the entire organization, we need to do strategic
mm,
refactoring.
mm,
What is our approach? Okay, maybe I don't even know the organization.
mm, mm.
Maybe at a high level, I know they are operating with 5 line of businesses. This is what they do. Okay, but what should be my approach even to get into strategic refactoring so that I understand what are their retrospectives, what they're looking at, how do I make an outcome based plan for that refactoring, right?
Mm, correct, correct. Mm, mm,
So,
mm.
I mean, I may be 60 or 70% there, or I don't know, maybe is it 40 or 50% there, but that delta gap is what I'm looking to bridge between our conversations.
Sure, sure. You will actually come to know where are you once we begin the class.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Okay. So fine. So I will start mentioning here some of the thoughts pertaining to one by one. Okay. So first we will take this 5 tantras of enterprise agility and building an operating model for a business agility. Okay. See, now the point here is what I'm expecting as an outcome of here is at an enterprise level, how to build a enterprise agility health radar consisting of multiple parameters. Now the point is uh, one sec. See,
Is there any disturbance from my side, or is my
no,
mic
no,
silent, or should I go on mute?
no, no, yeah. You can actually go and mute for now. Whenever you wanted to talk or whenever I'm asking any question, you can unmute and then speak.
No,
Because
only if there
we
is
are
a
also
disturbance, I will
recording. No?
go on mute. Just there
Yeah,
is a fan behind me. That's it. I
yeah,
am
yeah.
not
You can
sure whether.
actually go and mute for now. Okay, so it is something like when I actually get into the topic, no. So when I get into the topic of that 5 dimensions of enterprise agility in our next class, I will be explaining you this with a real-time template like this. For example, if I'm talking about an enterprise agility health radar, probably these are all some of the parameters or dimensions or aspects, whatever you call. These are all some of the aspects to measure. And now, how did I begin the journey? For example, I would have started creating this sheet, partnering with the product owner, program managers, and all the people who are closer to the landscape. So when I started creating this sheet, it is not a binary number, right? It is how are we getting moving from a less agile state of existence to a more agile state of existence. So here, first I am identifying the different parameters. I am giving some connotations 1, 2, 3. For example, since it is a range based, I still want to call it as 1, 2, 3. See, now today being the first class, in the actual class, I will be explaining you the entire sheet and what needs to be done. I just want to tell you on a high level what is that we are going to encapsulate or cover in this entire level 2. So here, once we create the sheet like this, I want to create the scores saying from where are we at the time of beginning the journey, where are we currently, what is the goal. Simple. Then you give the numbers and then roll it up into a chart like this, which is one way. The other way is identify the dimensions as technology, organizational design, people, leadership, culture. And how do you calibrate? You can give some connotations also 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 and define the connotations. 1 means this, 4 means this. Because these are all not like a Boolean numbers only with 0 or 1. It is like a speedometer of a car, right? It shows the speed 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So here we are talking about the maturity level of the agile. So agile maturity level, how am I measuring across these particular dimension? So in the when I take the topic, I will explain you in a detail. Today being the first class, let us take some high level notes. For first thing, no, the 5 tantras, I can actually tell like this. See, now there are multiple books or multiple sources which is saying multiple dimensions. Let me call it out one by one. One is focus on customer outcomes to begin the journey. Focus on the customer outcomes. Then how are we self-organized? How are we self-organized? And do we have a transformational leadership? See, now in this class, I am going to explain only the why part and the what part. The how part will come in the actual class. I just want to set the scope of the class today. Okay. Transformational leadership. It is not a directive or a command and control. Okay. Then transformational leadership, customer outcomes, self-organized. Do you have the mindset in that organization? Do we have the mindset of experimentation and then learning? Something like this. Then lean thinking. Okay. So these could be five tantras seen from one angle. If I look into some other sources or materials, it was saying customer organization, tools and infrastructure, agile project management aspects, then software and business processes, then followed by the people interaction aspect. So, which is being given from some other materials or some other, I can say it as a 5 tantras as articulated by different schools of thought. That will be a better word to use. Different schools of thought. Okay. School of thought. Now, the other dimensions which we can cover here is, which you actually saw in the sheet sometime back: technology, organizational design, people, leadership, and culture. So when someone asks, okay, what are all the different aspects or dimensions which we need to consider in mind when you are talking about enterprise agility, it could be a mixture of all these things. I am actually giving you different permutation and combination so that you are in a better position to plug and play, pick and choose whatever makes utmost relevance in the context within the constraints. Okay, so it is like something like For me to define a rainbow, I need to know the colors of the rainbow. As simple as that. So for me to define enterprise agility, as many dimensions or as many aspects I know, better I have a grip on this subject called the enterprise agility. So how we will create a shade, how we can measure, we will see in the actual class. Now, this entire level 2, no, if you start looking into this entire level 2, it is more on the principles. It is not on the practices level, because the practice of Scrum, Kanban, framework related things, it's anyway covered in the level 1. So level 2 is for people who want to go one level above, irrespective of the practice, irrespective of the cadence or the ceremony. I am more focused upon, am I going with the agile principles? If I'm implementing SAFe, how am I translating that principles into a custom model? So one way to improve the capability is, yes, if you have a lot of templates, definitely you can take reference from there and create your own template. But what is more needed is ability to create custom templates as per the existing ecosystem. So that is why in these DevOps handbook and playbook, I will be teaching you how to think and how to create a custom template. Then we will download from internet and then we will compare it both. Okay, so this is the first thing, and we are going to discuss, okay, using this sheet, using these many dimensions or parameters, how I can take the organization towards business agility. So business agility for now context, you can replace it with a word called strategic adaptability for now. Okay, strategic adaptability. Now what happens is, based on my notes and whatever I have collected, enterprise agility, which is organizational agility, will be a combination of three things. Okay, let's say A, comma B, comma C. A is, am I able to build predictable delivery engine at a team level? At a team level, I should be able to deliver predictable with the consistency. B, have any objective based prioritization technique to do funding. Okay, to do funding or investment. C is business agility. So if someone asks me what is the difference between business agility and enterprise agility, I will tell business agility is one subset of enterprise agility, typically at a portfolio level. But having only agility at portfolio level is not going to give the work, right? It's not going to render the work. I still need to have a technical agility, a team level delivery consistently, and I need to have at a program level or at a portfolio level some objective based prioritization techniques, so that I have clarity. If I invest in this particular epic, if I invest in this particular sub epic, it makes more relevance for me. Okay, so let me take a pause here. Any questions here or any thoughts? You are on mute
So,
or something?
okay, yeah, I was on mute. So enterprise agility basically build predictable delivery engine at a team level. Isn't at all the levels of the organization? Can we say that rather than at a team level,
Okay,
right?
okay. I should have done like this. See, enterprise, yeah. Enterprise agility actually is equal to A plus B plus C, for which I have defined what is A, B, C here.
No. I understand that.
Okay.
See, I understood that business agility is a subset of it. And when you talk about business agility, the funding and all that goes into as part of that. That is just one part of it,
Hmm.
correct?
No, no.
Delivering
Business
delivering the
agility.
right solution at the right time.
See, business agility is more. See, that is the reason in the SAFe, business agility is now positioned close to operational value stream layer, because you need to factor the market rhythm. It is not
Correct.
just the internal organizations, right? So, how am I going to factor the market rhythm and then take it as an input into my emerging strategy at a portfolio level? That is called
Correct.
business agility.
Business agility.
Okay, one of the example right now, in March 2000, which is one of the common example, March 2020, Ford as an organization, which is typically a manufacturing organization, have stopped manufacturing the car because of the COVID condition, and they started manufacturing PPE and ventilators, personal protection equipment devices and ventilators. which is an excellent example of a business agility, because I need to manufacture something where market demand is there. During COVID, much of the plant went down for halt. The production deployment plans of Europe and UK for Ford organization. What is the point in manufacturing the car when no one is going to buy it? So they quickly change the strategy. So that particular nimbleness at a portfolio level is what we call as a business agility.
Correct. Yes. We are on the same page in terms of that. Now, only A and B. Uh, I understand that A plus B plus C equal to enterprise agility as per the definition which you are giving.
Mm.
But only thing what I'm trying to say is you are saying build predictable delivery engine at a team level. Why are we using that team level? Shouldn't we be predictable at the enterprise level? Because we are talking about an enterprise right now. I mean, that's what I felt.
Okay, okay, okay.
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 So you're looking from a CEO standpoint, right? Now, when so Balaji, let's say you're going for a consulting, you're basically going to talk to a CVP or a VP or CEO, that kind of a person. And
Correct.
then if you pitch in enterprise agility as a building predictable delivery engine at a team level, yeah, my teams are anyway predictable, but we want enterprise agility.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, predictably, I think we need to scale the team levels, the middle management, and all of these levels need to be predictable, is what I feel. Or I
No,
don't know.
okay, I will actually
I'm
tell you the
confusing.
thing in using when I touch about this mathematical approach, we have four quadrants. There is something called emerging, converging, adaptability, predictability.
Okay.
See, companies talk about predictable, but also companies talk about adaptable, saying that I need to be adaptable to the market. Logically speaking, predictable and adaptable are actually no diametric points. Like in one side of the graph, I put it as a predictability. Other side of the graph, I will put it as a adaptability.
Mhm.
Okay. So you observe the concept now. Maybe you see what you say is of utmost relevance. But what I was trying to emphasize here is, though I have team level the strategic adaptability and objective prioritization technique, if my team is not able to deliver, then what's the point of all these things?
Correct, correct. Yes, yes,
So
yes. I
what
got
so
it.
what it means is like this. My team is value creators. You can remember like this. My program layer could be value enablers, for example, like this. And my portfolio layer is value identifiers. My portfolio level only identifies, hey, this piece of work is very critical, this particular epic need to be funded, because if I fund this epic, I can get a better, a better pitch in the market. But it will only identify, but who is doing the work? The team is doing the work. But as far as team is, everything is a software. So that's the reason we are saying that team need to understand why am I doing, what am I doing, and how it is creating a vertical alignment.
Mhm. Okay, got it.
So deliberately we are not going too deep into it, because if it go to too deep
Then it
into it,
becomes a class.
separate
Yeah,
class will be there. No.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so this is at a high level.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Sorry, my
Now.
bad. I went into detail, but
Okay.
you
Sure.
go as per your agenda now.
Yeah, yeah. Now let us get into plan for strategic refactoring. Okay, see here what I was trying to meant is, for example, first of all, strategic refactoring means, see, okay, now to understand code level refactoring means, without changing the functionality of the code, I am trying to do enhancements to improve the maintainability, readability. One of the examples, simple example, string length. You can use a string concatenation function, or you can use a string buffer function. But
Yeah.
string concatenation is a static memory allocation. String buffer is a dynamic memory allocation. Once it allocates the memory, concatenates, the additional memory objects will be freed up automatically. So string buffer is an optimized code than string concatenation, but both are going to do only concatenation. So that is one simple example for code level refactoring. Now the same concept, now I am trying to say, first of all, let me define the scope. Is it at a product line level or at a product group level? Okay, for example, I take the line of business of my client and then I actually tag it to one product line, or multiple product lines will be called as one product group. Now, what are we trying to do do here is identify the top three pain points. Let's say, for example, at a product line level, what is the pain point you have? So from where we will get this particular detail, look into the retrospective backlogs. Your retrospective backlogs are very good indicators, insights for. When I say retrospective, it is not only sprint level retrospective, PA level retrospective, release level retrospective, also called as go live retrospective or post go live. Now, look into these particular retrospective backlogs to take, okay, what are all the potential improvement areas, which is point number one. Point number two, if I'm doing something like waste identification workshop to identify the waste, what are all the different waste? What are all the waste? Delays, defects, dependencies, impediments, right? These four ways by and large. One is a delay. Delay could happen due to dependency also, but still it is a delay. Then I have a defect. Then I have an impediment or a blocker. Then I have a dependency. It could be internal dependency or external dependency. This is going to correct. Okay, this is going to increase my cycle time, lead time, and decrease my throughput, right? Now, I am talking at a product line level or at a product group level. Can I take 4 or 5 top critical, typical pain points, and then can I come up with a brainstorming workshop, find out possible solutions, explore the alternatives, and also think about cost of delay for these alternatives. Be clear on the success. See, because success differs from person to person, right? Your definition of success is different from my definition of success. So what is the acceptance criteria or success criteria in terms of the resolvement, in terms of the resolution? So I created a template for this. When I take the class, I will give you the template and I will socialize it to you. But you got the point, no? What am I trying to do?
No, I understood this. Uh, Now, somewhat I have done also these things. I want to understand one thing here. When you talk about plan for strategic refactoring from your perspective, uh, we are taking one product line as a scope or product group as a scope. Can I know what is the reason behind that now? Can you
Okay,
just add a why we are doing what we are doing?
why we are doing is this will be the input for my outcome based plan of agile transformation. See, my outcome based plan should resonate the business context and purpose behind it, right? My transformation should address the real time ground level challenges.
Mhm.
So I am doing this plan for strategic refactoring as one of the outcome based plan in a model called Basecamp 2. So once you get that recording for Basecamp 2, you will understand what is this. There also it has been called out. But in level 2, I see in level 1, it will be told what is this and why are we doing, but not how are we doing. In level 2, I am putting the template and then explaining it. So why am I doing is like this. Unless and until I resolve the problems and I optimize the entire business workflow, then my transformation is not creating a powerful impact. For that, we are actually doing this so that system of transformation is the improvements identified using SOI and SOT is applied on the SOD. Means system of transformation plus system of improvement findings are applied on my system of delivery.
Okay. But isn't this like also a agile transformation? Point number two. Why are we calling this as a, strategic refactoring?
Okay, that is what the actual class is all about. For
Okay, okay,
example,
fine.
why
No,
are so
okay. If you're going to cover in the class, not a problem.
see,
But if you
this
just
in
want
the
to make a note of my question, you can make a note there.
yeah, anyway the recording is there. No, as much as
Okay,
you are going to play back the recording, like when I prepare for my next class, I also used to play this recording.
okay, okay.
Okay, so here what am I doing is that here I'm using the word catalyst means what? In the presence of this activity, it is going to speed up creating you the outcome based plan. See, now for example, outcome based plan, one simple example, maintain a 3 months rolling wave backlog. It is one of the outcome. Means at any point in time, let us ensure that we have a visibility for 3 months. in terms of
Correct.
the backlog. It could be product backlog, it could be team backlog, or program backlog, or solution backlog, or portfolio backlog. That all depends upon the level of execution. All that I'm trying to say is maintain a 3 months rolling wave backlog. Then lean out product value stream means what? Identify your product value stream, which is called a development value stream. Eliminate waste from it, because for me to eliminate waste I need to identify waste. So I do a waste identification workshop. Okay, so somewhere I typed it, right, somewhere I typed it.
Yeah, yeah. In the same thing, third line from
Waste
last.
identification workshop. So this workshop will identify. In the actual topic I will tell you everything. Okay. So now you take the pointer. See, at the end of today's class, you will have the overall view. Okay, these are all the topics we are going to cover. These will be the key learnings from this level 2 lesson plan. Then we'll go topic by topic,
Okay.
because I don't want to touch the breadth. I don't want to touch the breadth, no, the depth aspect of it now.
Okay.
Okay, now let us go. My experience in creating strategic roadmap, a way to unlock enterprise agility. What do you mean by unlock generally in our example?
Uh, when we say unlock, basically promote or
Correct.
empower the existing people
Yeah,
so that
unlock
they
means, for example, when you're going for a personality development workshop, people will tell,
correct,
hey, unlock your potential.
correct.
Unlock your
So
full potential
yeah,
means
we are
some
unlocking organizations' potential so that they
correct.
can become agile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unlock means you have some power inside. Can you make it focus, organized, and then you just bring it out.
Mhm.
It is actually latent inside. Can you make it visible, impactful? It is called way to unlock. Now, I am telling, okay, if I want to unlock enterprise agility, possibly what are all the things which I need to do? So I need to create a transformation roadmap, or some kind of a Kaizen roadmap, or a strategic initiatives, right? All those strategic initiatives can be put into that Kaizen roadmap so as to unlock the enterprise agility. That will be covered in this particular chapter 3, this point 3. Point 3 and point 1 will go slightly hand in hand. Some of the references we can take from point 1. Now, now let me be free flowing in my thoughts. 1 minute. See, now what am I trying to tell is, let's say we are doing an agile transformation, right? So we have something called a wave one. Okay, see, now what happens? It will not be done in phases. Phases are distinctive compartments, whereas waves are, you will be having overlapping areas. So what I
Okay.
was trying to tell is, if I have, this is wave one, wave two, wave three, there will be some overlapping area
Overlap.
between wave one and wave two. Okay, this is wave one, and then this is wave two, and then this is called a wave three. Okay, where will you position cultural transformation? That is also one of your strategic question, based upon the context, based upon the business driver, based upon where are you currently and where do you want to do. So many factors need to be considered where to position cultural transformation. Now, in the strategic roadmap way to unlock enterprise agility, we will be we will be seeing that, okay, what are all the possible waves using which we can do an enterprise transformation. This is called a partnered transition. This is called a self-guided transition. This is called the innate, INNATE, innate transition. Now, how am I going to take my team from a less agile state to a more agile state? Consider this as a straight line. From a less agile state, where am I now? For example, you are somewhere here. This is a less agile. So what I need to do to bring it here? What would be the possible ways? Exact ways will be depend on the context of the ecosystem, right? But what could be the potential organization level initiatives which I can put in the Kaizen backlog? Second question is complete agile transformation. Sure, I shown you that diagram. See this one. Take a look for a minute. Please take a
Yeah.
look for a minute. I will explain.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I have seen this in your LinkedIn also.
Okay, you have seen, no? Like
Yeah.
something like this. For example, here in complete agile transformation, identify. See, I also given you some pointers. Okay, I'm not just saying. Okay, then the question will come. Okay, I'm going to invite my finance department, HR department. What to do with them? For that only, I'm giving some samples. Introduce dynamic budgeting to them. Coach HR to have performance or a team-based appraisal rather than an individual appraisal. Now, why this entire design is at a conceptual level. Now you need to execute it, right? So how will you execute unless and until you have created a roadmap and then you are getting it going? So that part will be covered there.
Okay.
Hope the flow is okay, no? What I'm trying to explain you.
Yeah. I mean, this picture I had seen earlier itself, and I was in sync with the picture. My
Okay.
silence is acceptance. Otherwise, I give a hard time. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so let us go to the next one. Okay, see here, leading exponential change, moving from IT to business transformation. Okay, now let me tell you what I have covered there. Okay, so the third point I have already told you. Okay, strategic roadmap. I'm not going to type much here. Anyway, from the recording you can take the pointers. Okay, so fourth point is this. See here, what we are trying to say is, what is an exponential change generally? What you in simple English?
A Big Bang change
Okay, exponential change is something
or
for
incremental change
no,
keeps on
yeah, for a small time interval, you will be having enormous change, quantum
Hmm.
leap, right?
Okay.
See, if I have, let's say, if I have time, if let us assume you are able to quantify the change, whatever be the change, okay, it could be an improvement, whatever it is. Exponential change is something for a delta increment of t, it has curve has gone like this. It is
Correct.
not like this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is called a e to the power of x, let's say,
Yeah.
mathematically. This is called exponential change. Now, if I wanted to do an exponential change to move from IT, only from IT to business transformation, what to do? Any thoughts which will come to your mind?
See, if you are doing a exponential change, then you'll have to do a authoritative change wherein the entire organization or directive change, right? And you are to be should be already set,
Hmm.
correct? Then only you can do a exponential Big Bang change in that short period of time. That is what my feeling is.
Fine.
I mean,
Now
from
we
as is to be,
correct.
your
Okay. So
your direction should be very clear that that is my destination. You cannot be evolving.
correct.
Okay,
So
if you
now what
evolve, you'll go into that the other change.
correct. So now what you need, what I will suggest in this mentorship program is that during the beginning days of the mentorship program, you can get the knowledge aspect from me. Then you can go to the level of implementation aspect of the knowledge. Okay. So first thing here, I'm going to introduce you to two models called ELSA model and the Delta model. ELSA means events, uh, 1 minute, events, language, structure, structures, and the agency. In the class, I will explain you later what is this about. Because if I tell everything now, no, then it will be very difficult to complete the lesson plan. Delta stands for double loop for transforming and accelerating. These are all two models in the industry, proven practices. Now the point is, the moment I talk about a model, your answer will have more credibility because models are proven frameworks or practices or structures which is already proven to give success time and again. So you can still talk about a contextual model. I'm perfectly fine. But don't ever talk about any customized or contextual model without talking about an existing proven model. Your answer may not have a weightage point. Okay, now I'm talking more from an interview point of view, but also even from a real time point of view, when we are presenting it to the business leaders of our client side, we need to tell that, hey, I have taken references from this Carter's 8-step change management model, or I have taken references from Atkar, something like that. We need to give a reference back to a existing model. Then how you contextualized or customized those models to ensure fit for purpose. Now, in leading exponential change, I will be teaching you about ELSA and the Delta model. And there is something called ESD, right? Enterprise Social Density. What is this? This is something which is going to tell, hey, how my organization. So how to find it out? Is there any informal ways in my organization so that knowledge gets disseminated or propagated easily. Only if there is a knowledge sharing only through formal channels of learning, then ESD factor will be low. For a learning organization, the ESD factor will be high. Okay. So there is a book by this name, Leading Exponential Change. You can Google it later, written by Eric. Eric is one of my LinkedIn connection. So a couple of months back, I had a setup, a similar kind of a call, what we are doing. I had a call with him for 1 hour. He has given some perspectives. I had given him back perspectives, and I have consolidated that particular learning. That particular learning will be shared.
Okay.
See, now what happens, no, when you talk about these models and then you put your thought, your answers are at a different level altogether, isn't it?
Right.
Okay, now let's go to the fifth one. Creating DevOps handbook and how you can use DevOps as part of your agile adoption playbook, okay, to sustain technical agility. So here I will be talking about something like principles of flow, then principles of feedback, and continual learning and experimentation. Let's say continual learning and experimentation, which is actually point number 1, which is the first segment of it. Then how to create a playbook so as to do a shift left approach. How to do a shift left approach and what are all the building blocks of my DevOps playbook. Building blocks of my DevOps playbook, and how this playbook can be integrated into your agile adoption playbook also. Something like that I will be telling you. So once this class is done, you can start creating your own playbook without referring internet. Then you refer internet to do a gap analysis.
Okay.
See, that is what needed, no, in the industry.
Yeah.
Given a situation, given a context, within half an hour, will I be able to create a quick template to start the journey? See, because I cannot know without any template or without any something tangible in my hand, I cannot go back to my leaders. Even to talk, initiating the conversation, I should have created a model. These sessions will explain you to create the model. Then you need to customize it later.
Yeah.
Okay, one more point what we need to do, what we need to take care here is, if I'm talking about a DevOps adoption or a playbook, how am I going to customize it for greenfield versus brownfield? Right. So greenfield is a newly developed application. Brownfield is a maintenance or a enhancements. It is a single word actually, not greenfield. Okay.
Yeah.
These are all the things which we will see there. Now let's keep the ball rolling. Okay. Then cultural transformation models. This is an important topic which is picking up in the market. Okay, because they wanted some reliable models. So here what I will be teaching you is my own model, what I created. HEART. HEART stands for happiness index, engagement, adoption, retention, and task success. Okay, something like that. 1 second, wait, I'm just looking for something. Okay, see this particular diagram, something I have posted in the LinkedIn, right? How I headed the cultural transformation initiative. Literally, it has taken only 10 minutes to create this particular diagram. Now, the clues are already given in the requirements document of the client. Let's say one of my client comes to me and then says, hey Balaji, I wanted you to create a cultural transformation model, some kind of a high level, how are we going to orchestrate the flow, and then let me know. So what I did, I created some symbols, I gave different colors. In the requirements document, it is mentioned that they are going to deploy local coaches because culture is very context sensitive to the geographical location. So unless I have local coaches, I cannot do it. So I quickly went here and I put it as a regional or a local coach. 1, 2, 3, done. Then in the same description, it is written, local coaches should be reporting to the global coach. So global cultural lead, which is myself in that engagement, and we had four global coaches. Then local cultural lead reports to global cultural lead. Fine. Then in the same JD, it was written, we need to also look out for a second level cultural coach within the same team, so that once the cultural coach goes out of the program, this guy will actually play the role. So I put a new role saying culture career senior developer. Then this also needs to be funded, and I put a term called Global Excellence Program Committee funds the CTA. But to do this, we need change agents. So I put a SPCs plus a Agile Working Group, who will be the engine of the change agent. And all these things will not work out without having technical engineering excellence, local coaching program. And there's some people who wanted to continue in the technical career, let them continue. We cannot force them to do managerial work. It took only 10 minutes or 15 minutes maximum to create this slide. So answers are already indirectly given. Sometimes we miss to connect the dots. What do you say now?
Yeah, correct.
That's all. So get the requirement, put it in a pictorial representation, and start the journey. Don't look for perfection. Look for progression. That is important. Keep the ball rolling. So once I create it, I will send it to client, and I will set up 1 hour discussion. Whatever feedback they are telling, then I will put it in my framework. Then I will put it in my assessment sheet. So every day I will keep progressing to the goal. So this way we need to do for now.
Okay. What is this culture career senior developers in that this one?
Which one?
In your slide which you were showing now, culture career senior developers was there, right?
Okay, 1 minute. I just lost track here. 1 minute. Okay, culture career senior developer is something. In the absence of my coach, see, it is like identifying an internal scrum master, right? For example, you have a scrum master, but that scrum master is not a permanently cannot be given to the team. So what he will do, he will identify a second layer within the team, right?
Okay.
So
Okay,
culture career senior developer is one guy, one person within the team who is more focused on learning and getting to know on the cultural aspects, so that once the coach gets disengaged, he will play that role.
Okay, got it.
Okay, fine. Okay, so where are we? 1 second, I'll just close these things are not needed for now. Anyway, recording is there. Okay, now let us go to the second. This one called as specs, SPEC, practical approach. Okay, this is something what I included is fundamentally focusing on a middle level management, because what happens is middle level. Oh, sorry, just put it like this. You copy it there. It seems. Becomes what? Frozen, right? Means middle level management only will offer sometimes highest resistance to get change, right?
Right.
So how to handle it? See, in cultural transformation, there are a lot of things. Okay, I just told heart, but we have OCAI, Organizational Cultural Assessment Instrument. Then we have Barrett's level of consciousness of tool. Then we have William Skinner model, like control culture, collaboration culture, competence culture, cultivation culture. Then we have Simon Sinek's law of diffusion of innovation. Culture itself will take by and large 2 classes. Okay, so I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg now. When we get into the class, I will introduce you to all the models. So my suggestion is that maybe for starting days, you can just be an observer of gaining more and more knowledge. Once you assimilate the knowledge, then you apply your logical thinking or whatever it is to see. But first you need to get the knowledge, right? So you can focus on absorbing the knowledge for now. Okay, now this is something called as, see, because fundamentally this mentorship program is there for you to observe my knowledge, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So structure, practice, events, capability. Because why we are including self is paramount importance, personal transformation, right?
Correct.
Okay, so this will be told in the specs. So when I take the class, I will let you know. Okay, Then there in that topic, the next topic what I had is PDO sustainability plan. PDO sustainability plan means PDO stands for a product driven organization. Means from a project mindset, from project one sec, from project mindset, how are we getting moved to product mindset? And in the PDO model, how to sustain agility? Something like a similar concept. A particular agile coach is there for 15 months, 18 months. Once the agile coach leaves the team, what are the checks and balances we are having to ensure sustaining the agility? And how are we going to create something called the expedition playbook? I will show you a real-time playbook in the class later when this topic goes. Then I think I told about this one creating PTO. Okay, this one mathematical real-time. Okay, now let's keep going. Now next thing is executive leadership guide. Okay, now generally, what thoughts come to your mind generally when you hear this term, executive leadership guide to do an agile transformation? Can you please share one or two lines?
Mm. So when we are talking about executive leadership guide, fundamentally we are trying to look from the executive management, could be VP, CEO, or which is a very, very large organization.
Correct.
And they want to do a transformation in their organization. And it is like, what is my step-by-step approach in terms of, or kind of a playbook again in your words, okay, which will lead me to execute this transformation smoothly.
Okay.
Is that what?
Yeah, so yeah, by and large, yes, you had a lot of overlapping areas. I was also thinking from the perspective that if I am an executive who is more on the business outcomes, revenue, top line, bottom line, CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, something like that. I'm not much into agile way of working. So if there is an executive or a leadership from a CXO or that kind of guys, if I want to create a guide to them to tell that, say, how I structure this agile transformation, how are we going to do all these things, what will be the envisaged benefit, so that funding gets approved, which is
correct.
one part. And second part is how are we giving a guide to my executive or the leaders to understand what am I doing from their own language, not from my language.
Correct. So in other words, if I have to summarize now, it is a guide for the executive management team, or it's their plan how they are going to implement transformation, and maybe they would like to present in their board of director meeting so that they can get that funding.
Correct.
Or board
Yeah.
meeting or whatever.
Correct. And how do you map your technical aspects to the business terms? Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
See, now here, what are the things we are going to cover is some section on the culture, some section on the practices and the systems involved. How we are also having some section. See, that executive guide, I will be creating it. See, I have a habit of discussing and then creating it with the person. I will never download anything, or I will not even show the guide what I created for my last batch and then explain it. Okay, we will have conversation. I will give some thoughts. You will tell something. I will tell the positioning. I will tell the positioning aspects of it, and then we will co-create it.
Awesome. I would love that. Yeah.
So that while I'm creating, I wanted to know how you think. If not, what will happen? You will be getting the knowledge part. I may not be know. Okay,
it will not provoke my thought process.
Correct. I want to know your thought. Okay, then here we'll be seeing like all these sections also, backlog, teams, working, tested software, then what is the overall governance model we are having, then what is the structure followed, metrics and the tools, something like this. So when we create the guide, I will let you know. For now, these are the placeholders in that guide. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Next one is an important topic called principles of product development flow. So here what I am trying to tell is how I can take my holding cost, how I can take my transaction cost, and then how I can create a model wherein I can do an U-curve optimization of both, and probably how I can reduce the batch size. I can reduce the batch size and I can put a WIP limits on the board, and then I can improve the overall flow.
Okay.
Improve the overall flow means how to establish predictability, even when there are, even in a chaotic situation, something like that, right? So how to establish predictability means what it means, decrease variability. One of the technique is to reduce the batch size. Okay, fine, but reducing the batch size also need to be done in a smart manner, factoring the holding cost and the transaction cost. So what is that? All those things will be explained in the class. Then we are going to see some case studies on. We'll do one by one. PayPal. I wanted to tell. Then let us also look into Philips, PayPal, Philips. Then we'll look into Standard Bank of Africa. The bank, it is called South Africa, but better Standard Bank of Africa, followed by ING. ING Vysia is also picking up a very good in terms of agile transformation. Something like this to see case studies so that you know the varieties or the flavors. Okay. Now here, one thing what I wanted to tell, this is a Big Bang approach. Big Bang approach. So this is something what I had in my mind. Okay, so this is something. Okay, let us go back. So creating this executive leadership style. Okay, and here what I'll do, no, I can tell now here. Okay, see what I actually explained to you is this now, principles of product and development flow. I have explained you. Here what I'm going to do is something like this. What is that? 4 quadrants, right? Adapting to change and becoming predictable. It is something like this. I'll just show you on a high level. It is like, for example, I am going to put like this. Here I am going to put a emergent market. Okay. Here I am going to put a convergent. Okay. Then now y-axis is on the market. Now x-axis is on the organization. Here it is more on a predictability, PRE I am writing. Here it is more on the adaptability. Now, given the situation, where are you currently in this quadrant and where do you want to go and how will you go?
Okay. What are you doing more? What are you doing less? And which direction you want to position yourself?
Which direction I want to go. For, say, for example, I want to go from here to here. I cannot directly go from here to here. I need to come here, and only then go here. Because this is adaptability both from an internal organization and emergent also. Correct. So here only what will happen, we'll be thinking about where to position base camp 1, where to position base camp 2, base camp 3, base camp 4, 5. So these are all incremental transformations.
Correct.
So these things will be dealt over here. 4 quadrants and how to progressively do the maturity using incremental transformation. I told about you on the leadership guide. I told about on the case study. This is also one tool, but a slightly improved version of this tool. But here the focus is on enterprise agility. Here focus may not be only on the enterprise agility. What is your case and objective? Based on that, we can customize this. Okay. Then this is something. How do you do enterprise agile transformation using high performance enterprise? Now, can you tell me one simple thing? What is the link between high performance teams and the enterprise agility? Generally, is there any link?
High performance teams and enterprise agility. So we discussed enterprise agility as organizational agility, and when you did A plus B plus C, and your point number A was about team level. Okay, to get I think team level making it more predictable. If I recollect, something on the team level. Now, and that is what I'm able to relate, that for you to really win on the enterprise agility, you need to have your point number A also done. Right now, to have your point number A done, when you're talking about a team level, you need to go and see what are the attributes of your high performance teams, which could be maybe as a people are collaborating, their skills, their competencies, their commitment, their focus, and their culture, and everything is there available so that they're performing high and they're all self-organized, right? Only then, as an organization, when all of your teams at all the levels are performing like that, you'll achieve enterprise agility, is what I feel. Is that the link?
Yes, 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 by and large. So here, what is that we will be discussing is right from the team layer and slightly on the higher layers, program layers and portfolio layers, and I will be putting on the left side and the right side some other building blocks,
Hmm.
some other building blocks which will be like enablers at the appropriate layers, like the team level, program level, then your portfolio level. Like we had a spanning palette kind of a model in on the safe framework, I'll be putting some plug and play building blocks saying that okay, if your team level is in this, if your team and program is going to take care of all the release management, all these activities, then what are all the building blocks? So it's like a more on a high level model. Depending on your ecosystem, you can customize it without
Hmm.
diluting the principles. That line is important. In the name of contextualization, in the name of customization, we should not dilute the underlying principle. Now, let me give a real time example. 6 months back, I was doing a safe maturity as assessment, safe implementation maturity assessment for one of my client. At the time, know what happened when I was trying to do the assessment, and then I showed them the assessment sheet. My client managers and my own organization leaders were saying me, "Hey, it is not contextualized. You need to contextualize, right?" They told me as if I don't know about contextualization. I told them one thing: I will contextualize exactly, but not now. Because if I contextualize it now while I'm beginning the assessment itself, against what will you compare it?
Hmm.
It is
Correct.
like it is like I am changing the expected result column in an Excel sheet or
Hmm.
actual result column in a okay expected
By
result column is
actually
a
you're
code.
doing a assumption or prejudice thinking that okay, this is what they want and you're contextualizing it. What you are saying is first you will do a due diligence in terms of understanding their organization, and you'll refactor your plan or
So
maturity model
yeah,
to suit
so
their business. And maybe a couple of things may be required by their business as a maturities, couple of them may not be required or not relevant in their context.
hmm, hmm.
That,
So
I
if
think
I
that's
want
what.
to Yeah, so if I want to put my understanding, now if I contextualize the assessment questions for safe maturity assessment at the beginning, I don't get a baseline or a benchmark against which I can compare my existing context, because it is like changing the actual result of a test. Actual result of a test, expected outcome of a test should not be changed. Now what is your test result says, is it in align with the expected test? So don't customize, contextualize unnecessarily. We need to know as senior people in the industry when to contextualize, why to contextualize, and to what extent you need to contextualize.
Mhm.
We should not blindly tell if everyone tells yes, yes, customize. That that exhibiting that undue urgency need to be curtailed.
Yeah.
We will do contextualization when first I will do an assessment on the existing landscape that will tell what is your so-called context has done to the industry global benchmark values, global standards. I don't want to come down on my global benchmark standard, because if I reduce the bar, then how will you improve?
Right.
Then I gave them the justification, then they listen to me. So there is a time for everything, there we will do it, not now. So why am I telling all these things? No, deliberately sometimes we need to be, we actually should not do certain things because there is a purpose. No, respecting the larger cause and the larger benefit in the long run. Certain things I will not do at the beginning. That doesn't mean I don't know. I know it, but I will contextualize it later. Once I'm done with one level of assessment, then I will look into the assessment. Then I will tell my leaders, you see, as per global standards of safe implementation, it says that we need to have a lean portfolio management. Now, you guys are telling me remove lean portfolio management in the name of contextualization. If I remove lean portfolio management, then what's the point of having portfolio? What's the point of talking about portfolio agility?
Correct. When you'll not even achieve the business agility, right?
Correct. That's what we are saying. Contextualization and customization is perfectly fine at the right time, provided it doesn't dilute the principles of agile and safe. So we need to start thinking about principles behind the practices. Practices may change based on framework, but underlying principles are enablers for us to take the right direction to make a decision. Whenever any doubt you have, go back to 12 principles of agile, go back to 10 principles of safe. Answer has been hidden somewhere there. From there, you take the connecting thread.
Right.
Okay, so what I'll do, I will take a pause here. Okay, so how do you feel now? I try to encapsulate all the things in one class on a high level.
Yeah, looks good. No problem.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now what I will be doing from when we are catching up for the next class, I will be taking one topic. Okay, 5 tantras of enterprise agility. I will explain you. I will show you the real-time template. Get to know from your thoughts. Then we can customize certain things,
Mhm,
and then you can take it forward for your real-time work from there.
mhm. Right.
So first I will stop the recording.